Hello, thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Andrew Steele. I'm a graduate student at the University of Dallas in the Data Analytics Program. Today I'll be going through the Vera Aqua Vera Vita dashboard analysis. First, let's look at what will be covered in today's presentation. We'll get a brief background on the nonprofit organization. We'll look at the business questions that we're answering as a part of this project. We'll also look at the analytics goals that we're hoping to achieve. Then we'll move into a brief description of the data source and the steps that were required for processing that data. Then we'll look at the analytical procedures that were needed in order to create the deliverables of this project. So first, what is Vera Aqua Vera Vita? Vera Aqua Vera Vita is a 501c3 charitable organization that was founded in 2017 by Jacob Niemeyer. Its mission is to provide sustainable engineering solutions to generate clean water and sanitation for communities in developing countries. They are located out of Dallas, Texas, and currently are focusing their efforts on 8 rural communities in Peru. So why do they do it? According to the World Health Organization, 785 million people in the world, or 1 in 10 people, do not have access to clean water. The business questions we're looking to answer today are: what does the average donor contribute to the organization? How are donor dollars translated into projects? And what are the biggest costs associated with the projects, and how have they changed over time? What are our analytics goals? So we're looking to create exploratory visualizations to identify trends and significant observations. We're looking to create an interactive dashboard to track donor contributions and habits. And finally, we're looking to create another interactive dashboard to show donors how their contributions will be used and how it will benefit the rural communities in Peru. So the data source used for this project was actually Vera Aqua Vera Vita itself. So they provided 2 proprietary data sets. One contains confidential donor contributions, and the second contains IRS filings. Due to the confidential nature of the donor contributions, some of the data in this presentation was redacted. To supplement the main analysis, data was also scraped directly from the Vera Aqua Vera Vita website itself. For data processing, first, the manual data was scraped from the website and converted into Excel workbooks. Then, we needed to clean the proprietary data set that was imported into Jupyter Notebooks for data cleaning and resolving any identified issues. Next, we need to convert some of the proprietary data. So the donor data is confidential, so we need to convert actual donor names to dummy names. We also need to redact certain aspects of the presentation. Finally, we need to import the data sets into Tableau for visualization creation and check for any import issues. What were the analytical procedures that we followed for today's presentation, today's project? First, we previewed the data in Jupyter Notebooks after cleaning. Then we imported the data into Tableau, performed initial exploratory data analysis. Then we created exploratory data visualizations to answer the business questions. Finally, we created interactive dashboards to view trends and insights. First, we'll take a look at the exploratory data visualizations that helped us gain some insights. So first, I wanted to know a little bit more about who was donating. So in the analysis, it was summarized that donors are most prone to gifting on an ad hoc basis. So only 9.13% of donors had an active recurring monthly profile. The majority either donated via fundraising or one-time donations. 88.8% had inactive monthly profiles. Next, I wanted to see what the main sources of donations were. So it started off being mainly driven by public donations, a little bit over 90,000 in public donations in 2019. Then, as you can see, it got a lot closer over time. So the fundraising increased by 4,280% from 2019 to 2021. Now that I've looked at the donations, I wanted to take a look at the expenses and identify some trends in composition there. So first was identifying what expenses have changed in what way over time. So we were able to see that the majority of these expenses, as the organization grew and got larger, did increase over time. The one that increased the most was actually market expenses from 2020 to 2021. However, it was not one of the largest. One of the largest was staff compensation, which did also increase 39% from 2020 to 2021. Next, I wanted to look at what makes up the majority of the expenses for the nonprofit, so that potential donors know, in addition to the benefit that they're getting, they also want to know where that money is going. So disqualified compensation, a large portion of the staff compensation, actually made up 49% of the total expenses. It was $130,000 over the 3 years. The second largest was grants and assistance to foreign agencies, which was just over $33,000. So now that we've taken an initial look at some of the data, I wanted to move into the dashboards. Now for the first dashboard, I wasn't able to do an interactive demo because some of the data did need to be redacted. So here in this interactive dashboard, the organization is able to quickly identify key metrics, both of overall donors and be able to filter for particular donors. So up here at the top, we have average values for all of the key metrics for the various donors. It will default to being for all of those donors. However, somebody does have the ability to use this filter to filter down. The rest of the dashboard shows a little bit of composition and trending analysis. Since we already looked at some of this data here, I want to focus on the part at the bottom. Here's where I wanted to look into first-time donations to see how those have changed over time, to see if we could identify any trends. At the very beginning of the organization seems to be when we had the largest first-time donations. That does make sense as it was just getting started. However, it does seem after that there was a slow increase, though there was some variability over that time. But moving into Q1 2021 did have the highest amount of first-time donations in dollars since the original quarters. Next, we'll move into one of the interactive dashboards on Tableau. So this interactive dashboard is a donor impact tool. So this was created to be able to give donors, potential donors, a way to see how their donations will be used and to see who they're benefiting. So first, I want to take a look at this geographical map here. So these are the 8 rural communities that Vera Aqua Vera Vita will be focusing their efforts on. When you hover over each node, you'll get some additional information about each one of these communities. Monte Castillo, which is the largest community, was the first one that they started with and actually just completed. If we want to filter by project cost, we can see what the projected project cost will be. You can see a couple of these are towards the top, with Monte Castillo still being the largest just due to the population size. Next, I wanted to give donors an ability to toggle a potential donation amount to see how that will provide a benefit. So what you can do is toggle this slider here to choose a donation amount to see how that money could potentially be used. So if you were to donate $1,200, you could provide clean water for multiple generations to 24 persons, 5 households, So for every $50 in donation, you can provide clean water for one person. For every $250 in donation, you can provide clean water for one household. So the average size for families in Peru is about 5.1 persons. So that's how we got to that amount. If we move this slide over a little bit more, you can see here that this is going to update some of these other values below. Community is the one that has the highest cost. So for every $3,000 in donations, it will provide clean water for one rural community of 60 people for multiple generations. One statistic here that is quite startling is only 75% of rural communities in Peru have basic drinking water services. Now, apart from the Clean Water Initiative, we can see how your donation can make a difference in other ways. So for every $600 in donations, we'll cover the cost of water sampling and quality testing for one community. For every $1,200 in donations, we'll cover the cost for one volunteer to travel on a mission trip to Peru. And every $800 in donations covers 5% of the labor costs for the project, program delivery, and implementation. So the goal is, after we present this dashboard to the user or to the potential donor, that we can have them come up here and click to donate today. Let me go back to the presentation. The final dashboard was one that we already reviewed the majority of the analysis. This is an expense analysis to be able to give both potential donors and the organization a quick snapshot of what the expenses are today. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Please leave your feedback and any questions in the comments. Thank you very much.